with Dr. Leyland. Step into the future, the world is waiting now. Dreams are in the making, we'll show you how. From the books to the screen, from the stage to the stars, level up your game, let's raise the bar. Innovation, inspiration, it's in our DNA. Breaking through the limits, we're paving the way. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Empowered in your passion, your voice will be heard. Building a legacy with every word. From podcasts to pages, from business to art, Level Up's the place where it all can start. With heart and with vision, we're chasing every goal. Together we'll ignite the fire in your soul. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Oh, we're trailblazing, breaking through the mold. Dreams are alive, let your story unfold. With courage and pride, we'll take the fight. At Level Up, we own the night. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. So let's level up and never look back. On the road to greatness, we're on the right track. Together we'll soar, together we'll thrive. At Level Up Academy, we're alive.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. How are you guys doing? I hope everyone is doing fantastic. It is Wednesday and it is an amazing day, right? Because why? Even if you're going through things, you're still breathing. So it's called Gratefulness Wednesday. I'm gonna just like label every day. And Tuesday it's karaoke day. I was singing karaoke on TikTok yesterday. So that was really amazing. I wanted to invite you guys. Welcome to Level Up Academy podcast. Today's all about the 3 skills AI can't replace us as human. And actually, this came about one of my students asked me in class when we were talking about using the AI tools. And then I got a message from Wes Schaefer and asked that same question. So I got curious and I looked it up in terms of what are some of these things. So I really reflected on it, sat on it. And you know me, when I hyper focus, I look for answers on these questions as best as I could, right? I want to educate myself. And I'm always trying to drive conversations. And this conversation today is actually relevant to any industry, to any human being, regardless of your title or anything, right? It is a rude awakening for people who use degrees just for the sole purpose of getting a job, right? And I'm the first one to tell you that, and I have 4 degrees. So this is going to be an amazing conversation. I'm also going to give you, if you're here and you're commenting, I'm going to send you the link to your human skills audit checklist that I've created for free. But only if you comment on our channel, whether it's in YouTube or LinkedIn. But I wanted to invite you. We are opening our anthology right now. It's called In the Space Between, the stories we don't say out loud. We want to extrapolate how amazing people like you go through life, go through so much adversity, and still come out on the other end able to talk about it, right? And sometimes when we talk about it, we usually talk about it in our circles, but we want to talk about it in a platform like myself to disseminate inspiration more than information. We have enough information. We need to inspire people to do better. We can't expect people to do better when we're not doing better ourselves. So we have to what? Show up, show them how to do it, and then hold their hand so that we too can learn, right? And so this is a good discussion. These are real stories, real powerful people, and featuring the soul. I want to capture that soul, right? So here is, you can scan the QR code, but also just let me know in the DM and I will be happy to help you guys, okay? And then we are running our 50 inspirational connections. I actually submitted, instead of this one, I actually submitted a link on our YouTube channel. Just copy and paste that link and you should be able to apply. It's still open. And let's see, let me see if I was talking to Homer and I got lost in my conversation. I was listening to a Filipino song today, but here's the Google form, guys. It's in our YouTube channel. That is the link. Just copy it and paste it in your URL. We are looking for inspirational people. And the good news is Level Up is known to amplify your messages in 6 continents. I know there's 7, but I haven't had Antarctica yet. And also 158 countries in 25 distribution channels. So you're talking Apple, Spotify, right? Samsung, Pandora, iHeartRadio. I am everywhere. And I'm giving it to you for free because I believe that we can make a difference if we stay grounded, if we surround ourselves with people who are positive. I'm not saying people who don't have problems, because that doesn't exist. We all do. But people who are positive and remain positive despite of the situation, not because of their situation. So 50 Inspirational Connections is made for that. Now, I also have other communities that I wanted to highlight, but first thing is first, I wanted to highlight Bella Grace because I use Bella Grace, right, constantly. And this elixir, guys, I can't say it enough. It's such an amazing elixir. April Wyatt, actually, I put her video on YouTube to actually show you her own personal experience with it. And she's in our YouTube channel to tell you. And I'm hoping that I'll have one of the scientists that is creating amazing products, right? And I was a beta tester and it's so good. And I can't say anything about it until the doctor comes in, and he just came from Italy. So hopefully I'll get him by next week to share wellness, right? To share products that are so amazing for you and I. And then, of course, I'm drinking this right now, which is rice coffee. So hopefully you guys, if you drink coffee, this is a mushroom coffee, not a psychedelic mushroom, guys, okay? Just regular mushroom that is good for you, right? For focus, especially if you have ADHD, for calmness, for anxiety, for anything, collagen, if you're taking collagen, which I also do. These are things that are in this series of drinks that you're about to drink, right? So hopefully you guys can come in and, right, and take advantage of the 15% discount. So are you guys ready for the conversation today? I don't know if my brother Mike is here, but I know that HOB, amazing friend Homer, is here to show us that HOB is an amazing place to be. Okay, so this is Mike Asher-Brenner, the founder of Hounds of Business Community. We're always working on making sure that you guys have the best community out there. Yes, you're not going to be 100% getting along with everybody. That's the beauty of a community, is that you can find your own little people in there that really is amazing in doing things. I also wanted to highlight, we are still doing GoFundMe for my niece Elise. She has Kawasaki disease. Her mom is actually going to be on Whatnot, Danielle, and actually providing toys that you guys can physically buy. But the funds that you're giving to her is going back to Elise, because their insurance rejected their request to go to Berkeley to do more testing and how she can help her daughter. So we're still getting GoFundMe. It's going to stay there. Our goal is to hit $50,000. We're almost quite on the 15, maybe 16% of our goal. So your help, any help, prayers, most importantly, and share her story, share her link. Thank you guys so much for your kindness, for your participation, for your engagement, and everything in between. And for the love, please subscribe our channel and also like and comments, right? Now, let's go ahead and switch to today's discussion. Wes Schaefer, I hope you're alive and well, and also on our live right now, because I do want to get your information on what do you think, right? Because you asked me the question, what do you think? So here, I'm going to shout out to my LinkedIn fam. Hello, everybody. And I wanted to also highlight what our topic is for today. All right. This is your host, Dr. Leland. Welcome. The 3 skills AI can't replace human beings. But first things first, let's see who's first here. Of course, it's me. Welcome, everyone. And then, of course, it's Homer from the Philippines. It is midnight now in the Philippines. So we were just talking in our conversation about the song Marikit. I really love that song. And then, of course, we have our sister, Susana Don, hoping she'll happen soon. And also our sister, Lydia. Good morning. Our brother, Leo. By the way, Leo is Elise's dad and Danielle's husband. So thank you for coming in. Richard, it was so nice to meet you yesterday. And I hope that you can join our HOB community. Let's have fun and also be in our live stream. Bright Side of God. Hello. Victor, you're doing so good on TikTok. I need to hop in again. I've been like going somewhere else, I guess, right? Of course, sister Danielle is here. Thank you guys so much for being here. So the question yesterday was basically, hey, CJ, you talk a lot about AI and everybody talks about AI and use. Now I'm actually looking for ideas and things like that when I was looking for visibility. But then a lot of people also talking about the AI is the new coworker, right? That keep your career relevant in 2025. So how do we keep ourselves relevant in 2025 when everything is streamlined, everything is robotic, and everyone's like, I don't know, what are we supposed to do? We need to go back to school. Well, here's the thing. Some people are not made for school. And I'm okay with that, right? Some people are really good at school, and I'm okay with that too. But we shouldn't judge people who are not good at something, right? Imagine if you are like, you can shame me because I'm not athletic and I can't run really fast. That's really ridiculous, right? That's really what you're doing with the differentiation. Some people have different learning styles, and that if they have a teacher who are discouraging, most importantly, not kind with their words when they provide feedback, and the students are already struggling, it's like pushing someone who's drowning down more on the water. We don't want to do that, right? And that's what you're doing when you're differentiating yourself with, oh, I have a degree and you don't have a degree. It doesn't make you the better person. It just means that your focus was different. But now, because of AI, actually, it seems that the industry of workforce has balanced it out now. And I mean balance in a different way. You're thinking like, how is it balanced when AI is taking over the job? No. AI is something that's helping. It's a tool. It's not a human being, not yet anyway. It's not robotics yet, not yet anyway. It's already in the works, right? But if you don't keep up with what is trending and what is the tools today, you might as well just retire. Even if you start your own business, everybody is literally, most of everybody, I should say 70 or 80% of the world is using AI, right? So people are buzzing about how AI is changing the day-to-day work, and it's not just a hype anymore. You see it everywhere. Job security is tied in with layoffs, still hitting the headlines, guys. Look it up yourself. Professionals want practical ways to future proof themselves. How do we do that? Hiring managers' insight basically is that you can fold in what, ask yourself, what employers are really looking for now? What are they looking for now? Right? When AI does part of the heavy lifting for your job, what are they looking for now? Everyone's either scared, curious, or already kind of dabbling. So they'll show up and then comment, hopefully. And you guys hopefully show up and comment. Because today we're going to talk about 3 skills that AI cannot replace you. And I actually want to know if you guys know. I want to know. Charles, thank you for coming from Hong Kong. I want to know, Charles, from you, what do you think the 3 skills that AI can't replace? I know you guys already know. Andreas, good afternoon. Where are you coming from? Good morning, Sister Marlene. Thank you for coming in. What do you think the 3 skills that AI cannot replace human beings? I'm curious what you guys are thinking. I really am. What do you think? Because that's what we're going to be talking today, right? Hiring managers are what? Hiring managers are favoring adaptability over degrees at this point. I've talked to at least 10 of them, right? Here's the new ones. Hiring managers leaning towards adaptability. So adaptability is like the new MVP skills. Indeed, CEO literally called it the most necessary skill for someone to be employable in the decades to come. That means the future, guys, especially if AI takes over routine tasks and human roles is shifting to strategic, creative, and emotionally intelligent, right? So practical payoff speaks volumes. A skills first approach is not only improving performance at work and onboarding speed, but also boosting retention. But I've also noticed, okay, there's a study out there actually from Indeed, and HR Drive, I believe, HR Dive, that 1 in 4 employees plan to eliminate bachelor's degree mandates for some roles, not all, some roles by the end of this year. And 70% of hiring managers now say that they prioritize relevant experience over a degree when making a hiring choices. What does that mean? Right? Skills are outpacing degrees. According to Indeed, 51% of hiring managers globally, not just in the US, globally, believes that skills-based hiring matters more than degrees, job titles, or even like years of experience. Okay, skills. So how do they evaluate skills if you're not hired yet? That is the question, right? So even in emerging fields like education is fading fast when it comes to that. But education will always have the expectations that you have to have a degree. I've also noticed that some educators, most educators who have a doctoral degree or a PhD or a DBA, they get hired faster because now they can teach everything. When you have a master's degree, you're limited to what your capacity of teaching, even if you have a vast experience. So education is probably one of those things that will drag, right? For roles in AI and green tech, demand for specific skills has surged while degree requirements dropped by 15% because skills related premiums now eclipse those of degrees even in that PhD level. So degrees still serves a signal though, right? It's still a lever. It's a whopping 87% of executives and hiring managers still look for that college credentials as super valuable. But some of these skills that you need, right, is what we're going to talk about today. Certain industries still hold degrees very dear, right? Entry fields, finance, healthcare, tech. those still favor degree holders. So what are we doing right now? Performance impact, better onboarding retention, right? So let's talk about one of the skills. It's called emotional intelligence and empathy. Why AI can't replace it? AI can analyze sentiment, but it doesn't feel, at least not yet. It can't build trust or read a room or handle delicate human interactions with true empathy. Okay. So when you're thinking about recruiter, what's the value? Hiring managers know that leadership, teamwork, and client facing roles live or die on trust. So in a 2024 LinkedIn Workplace Learning Report, okay, right here on LinkedIn, 92% of recruiters said soft skills like empathy and emotional intelligence are as important or more important than hard skills. Think about that statement. 92% of recruiters. Okay, so how do we do this? Role play your tough workplace scenarios, guys. How about conflict resolution? When someone annoys you at work, when someone belittles you at work, when someone lays you off at work, or maybe you need to negotiate your salary. Ask this: what did empathy change in the outcome? AI can give you data about people, but only humans can connect with people. All right. And I'm going to bring in my sister with that conversation.
Morning.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. What do you think of that?
It makes a whole lot of sense to have more. AI just doesn't have that ability to be empathetic, to make those connections. No matter how much it can sound like us, it still doesn't have the feel, especially if you're the type of person who really does feel what comes from others. So when I'm talking with somebody, no matter what they're saying to me, I can actually feel a lot of what's behind it. And so it's like AI can't do that. It doesn't have that ability to give a feeling behind what it's saying, what it's telling you. And we need that connection skill, people to people.
I love that. Hello, Andreas. Welcome. He's in from Ethiopia. Awesome. Charles, I actually want to highlight what Charles said. AI won't replace humans, but humans with AI will replace humans without AI. Jeffrey Hinton consider they. Yeah, with some nuances and context, right? So that was my first thing is basically AI can't replace emotional intelligence and empathy. That was my first one, right? Because they don't feel yet and it doesn't build trust. It's just a tool. There's no emotions into it yet. So let's talk about the second creative and strategic thinking. Why AI can't replace us. Okay. So generative AI like ChatGPT can remix, but it's bound by patterns and existing data. Most people feed it every day. It can't speak the next disruptive idea or evaluate context the way human strategists can. So if you're looking at the recruiter's perspective, we're talking about jobs here, right? SHRM, yes. Research shows creativity consistently ranks in the top 5 most desired workplace skills. So employers want people who can innovate, but not just optimize, because AI is optimizing your work, but can you innovate? So I would say, look at ChatGPT for a campaign idea. Challenge yourself to punch holes in it and elevate it with originality, right? Showing that human creativity layers on strategy, cultural nuance, and bold risk taking still takes over that. AI is a great brainstorm partner, to be honest, okay? But it's humans who invent the new rules of the game. Humans who made AI, by the way. Okay, don't forget that. What are your thoughts on that, sister?
Well, definitely. It doesn't have. I haven't seen where it can really predict anything. it's an algorithm, and quite frankly, when it comes to the algorithms, it's only as good as whoever created it, and it just doesn't have it doesn't have the nuances behind it. Um, so I'm thinking about it, and every time I've worked with Chat GPT like you have, and just learn from it, it can give me ideas, but it only has those ideas based on either what I've told it or what maybe it's pulling from other sources. But I've not seen where I would be curious. Actually, I might want to play with this. What if you can ask it to predict something and see what it comes up with?
Yeah, so AI can predict. It has a predictive analytics because it's based on algebra. Literally, the background of it is algebra. Like if you look at the coding, um, it can predict financial things, but if human pulls on certain things and trends, like AI is, think of it as like the capacity of data banks, right? I was talking to my students about like the difference between information and data, information, and knowledge, right? That was something that I talked about, and I asked them, "What is data?" They're like, "It's information," and I'm like, "Sure, but what is it?" Think of it as like cooking, right? You go to whatever store that you go to. I go to Vaughn's or Arby's, I go to Vaughn's, and I look at the section because I feel like I'm going to eat meat and vegetables. But if you look at the meat section, there's so many, right? Like lamb, pork, chicken, fish, right? You name it. And then you look at the vegetable, there's so many vegetables, organic, non-organic, like, oh, it's overwhelming. Think of AI as that, it's data, right? But human, we want to consume. Like, okay, well, I don't want to eat every meat. I just feel like eating salmon today with, asparagus and broccoli with cheese. So what do? Right? You take those information that you already know that you want, and you buy the ingredients that you need. That is the information. So data is just all of that ingredients. Information is taking those ingredients on what you want, right? And then knowledge then is applying those information that you gathered and create what you need. And literally, okay, now I have my salmon because I already know what I want to eat and I know how to cook it and all of these. So that is how we can do the creative aspect. Yes, AI is data. Think of it as a store, but you as a human being need to create what you want to create. It's exciting. Don't be afraid of it, but don't be a one all be all. Don't be a copy paster guru. Okay. I'm just saying. And Miguel, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you for saying good morning. We're on BST, not New York. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. But what do you think? What are your thoughts of my analogy, data, information, and knowledge, sister?
Oh, I wrote it down because it's like, okay, I'm going to use this. I like the way you put that, because we really don't think about it. As you bring it up, you start talking about data, information, and knowledge, and it is so easy to think that it's all the same. But the way that you just laid it out, and of course, being that it was cooking, is like, I'll take that too. It's perfect, and I'm quite frankly, you've got me thinking about ways to incorporate that into a lot of different places. Right now, just because I've got classes, it's like I'm trying to think of how I can churn that into my classes to hopefully help my students. Just this piece of it, get them thinking better. But then thinking about AI, because that's our focus here. AI really can only it's got the data, and it can kind of give you the information, but I'm not sure that it really has the knowledge aspect of that, because it's, again, that knowledge piece, that's part of the creativity. You can take almost anything for the data, you can take anything for the information, you can put that together, but the creativity often comes in that knowledge. And I'm thinking back too to some of the science fiction that I've seen where if you go back to the Avengers, the Winter Soldier Avengers, where it's like they're taking AI to decide who the bad guys are, taking AI to decide an algorithm of who they want eliminated because of what they might do. And it's like, that's scary stuff because the algorithm doesn't really know. It only has the data that you give it, and it's going to put it together, information the way that you're telling it to put it together. But that doesn't mean it's real. It doesn't mean it's true. And then you're going to come up with this idealized knowledge that you really don't know if it's real or not. You just want to believe that it's going to be real. And the algorithms they're not that perfect. I don't care. No matter where they are, they're not that perfect.
Not yet. I always say not yet because there's a possibility, right? I like what Mike says here. I love to use AI to zoom out to see the forest from the trees like I do for others, but it can't be used as a brain replacement. How well you prompt determines how good the outcome is. And I always teach that. Listen, if you're asking me, and I gave my students yesterday about methodology because, we expect them to write this, but do they know what methodology is or are, right? And I said, keep it simple, okay? Keep it simple. I know they have this thing called KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Literally, it's called KISS, right? I just took the other S, right? And I said, okay, so I like to simplify everything. Here's what I've learned. If a 5-year-old or a 5th grader don't understand what you're asking them to do or saying, you're complicating it. Anybody because most 8th grader are super smart today, right? So if they don't understand what you're saying, then redo your communication skills because we need to make sure that you can do that. And I think our problem is we put the ball on the people who's actually our students and assume that they know what we're expecting or assume that they know what we're talking about. So I always ask the question, how many of you, and it's an honesty clear group, know what methodologies are, right? Because I know that they might not know, but I also don't want to assume and be condescending that they don't know. So I ask, right? And then when I see that thing and I said, okay, here's the example of qualitative and quantitative methodologies and mixed methodologies. And it doesn't matter if you're doing master thesis or PhD level. Okay, guys, I mentor those students. You're going to have a little classroom methodologies today. So quantitative is what most people do. And same thing for AI, right? Quantitative just means numbers. So let me give you an example. If I ask you, what do you like to drink? That's a gamut, right? Like, just tea, coffee, blah, blah, blah. If I'm Coca-Cola and I want you to tell me what flavor you want me to create, should I ask you what do you want to drink without context that I'm from Coca-Cola? Because I'm going to say coffee, and Coca-Cola probably doesn't really make coffee, right? So when you're doing a research, you need to be very specific. When you're doing AI, you need to be very specific, right? So when I ask them, okay, well, do you like coffee? Yes or no? If it is yes, type number 1 on the chat. If it is no, type number 2 in the chat. And they're like, well, what is that? And I was like, that is called quantitative. It's close-ended questions. Quantitative is a yes or no, right? So now that I know 80% of my students like coffee, I can open a coffee cart in the school to feed you guys, have you coffee drinkers, right? And then for those of you who said number 2, I want to know, what do you like to drink? Right? Now that is an open-ended question because that is called qualitative. The best research are mixed methods, not numbers and not just qualitative because you need context. And that's why my PhD is on mixed methodology because I like to see both sides. And now the students understand what are methodologies in a research, right? So that's what I'm saying, like, yes, you have all this information about methodologies, you can read it, but if you don't give an example, okay, that relates to what they're doing and simplify that, it's hard for people to understand, right? Because that's why they're here in school, is to understand. And that is the second skill. Number two skill, creative and strategic thinking. If you understand what you're talking about, you're able to provide examples that relates to what our daily needs are. Does AI know that I like drinking coffee? No, unless I prompt it. You see, that is why most people right now with human skills needs that. You need creativity and strategic thinking. Let's talk about the third one. It's called adaptability and ethical judgment, right? AI doesn't have values or a moral compass. It can't weigh trade offs when situations are ambiguous, political, or require integrity, nor can it adapt meaningfully to fast changing, high stakes environment without human oversight. Think about what I said, human oversight. Now, a Deloitte 2025 survey found that adaptability and integrity are the most sought after leadership traits. They actually were outranking technical expertise. So employers want talent that can pivot quickly, make ethical decisions, and lead responsibly. So, this is my thing for you guys if you really want to look at adaptability and ethical judgment. What if an AI recruiting tool flags a qualified candidate as a poor fit because of bias in the data? How would you adapt and intervene if you were in HR, right? AI can crunch numbers and options and all of this, but humans can decide what's right. What do you think, sister?
Well, my first question on that becomes, how would you know? Because so often I feel like those HRs, they let everything go into the system, and the only things they probably even look at is what it gives them on the back end. The question is there anybody that actually goes in there and does an actual look to see if something happens or not? Do they actually look to see and compare? It's like, are we losing candidates because of something? And I have a feeling a lot of them, they probably don't want to take the time to look at it. They figure they've just created this algorithm, they got what they want, and they'll take what comes out on the back end and run with it. And unfortunately, I think they really are losing a lot of qualified candidates, probably even better candidates than who they end up with, because of playing numbers.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, AI can't feel the people either. You can some of these HR people can probably feel a candidate from the resume. AI can't.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to say on that one that I have experienced as well. I have seen people, okay, so in the workplace, they really need to stop the flagging, but in the workplace, they have a budget to hire people. They also only have a window for that budget because they have financial projections for the investors, right? So if you open up a ticket to say, I'm going to hire people, sometimes you only are given in certain departments budgets of 3 months. So if you can't hire anybody in that 3 months, you lose that budget, and you really need people in your area. So if you can't hire anybody within 3 months, you're not going to hire and wait until your next turn. It could be next year, it could be 6 months, nobody knows. So often what happens is they are on panic mode when they can't hire somebody. So they actually just hire internal candidates who actually might not be really good, but they needed to keep that budget to have that, warm bodies in there. So that's another thing that I have seen as well. Another thing is everything is, ATS. You hear all the ATS, applicant tracking system is what it means, guys. And so, your resume has to be ATS ready. In fact, I actually got a bot for ATS resume because I wanted to help my students. And when you do ATS, which is fine, but you really don't know the person. That's why they do interview. But this first rule that they have, like they have to do this. So if you're an applicant right now, what I'm saying to you is make sure that you have soft and hard skills listed. hard and soft skills listed, more on soft skills than hard skills, because these are data that are people from Indeed. That means all of the hiring managers are supplying this information. They're literally telling us what they are looking for, and they're looking for more soft skills than hard skills. They're more looking in certain industry. They're even getting rid of some of the bachelor's degree if you have a lot of hard skills and soft skills, right? In some industry, not all. But I'm saying they're all about skills now. So this is your turn. Wake up, right? Arm yourself with soft skills. All of these people are here on LinkedIn with a lot of like emotional intelligence and empathy and things like that. These are big words. Okay, when people cannot explain to me in the simplest form, I know they don't know what they're talking about. Because if you understand what you're teaching, you can tell me multiple examples because you already know, right? It's like cooking. My daughter asked me, Mom, how many teaspoons was that salt? I'm like, I don't know. I just had 3 dashes. I always have 3 dashes. And she's like, well, what is a dash? What is a dash? When you're doing it so much and you actually have all this knowledge, you know how to do that. That is the difference between the best teacher and just a teacher, right? When you say just a teacher, I shouldn't say just, because teaching is really hard, actually, guys, with AI. But here's the thing. The difference is your knowledge that you can create and synthesize. The next time you listen to somebody, I don't care who the experts are, if you ask them an example and they can't give you an example that you can relate, to me, in my head, you don't know what you're talking about. That's just me, automatically. Because if I ask you a simple question, I'm like, can you give me a different example? Some people get offended that you didn't get, or they think that you're stupid, that you're asking the question to give you another example. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm judging at this point if I want to listen to you, if I want to buy your product or services, if you know what you're talking about. Because what can you possibly teach me that I'm paying you $5,000 that you can't even simplify a simple questions, which is an example? I'm just saying, right? Nusrat, hello from Bangladesh. How are you? Mellow Yellow. You're so funny. I am Dr. Pepper. I actually love Dr. Pepper. I got the song in my head. Come on, Susanna. That happened recently. A CEO fired while HR department after his own resume was rejected. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? But that's what I'm saying, guys, right? Adaptability and ethical judgment. So those are the 3 skills that human beings really need, right? To keep yourself humanized, but also AI can't do. Okay, so those are 3. So let me share my screen, see if I can. I'm on Christmas mode.
Oh, I heard as soon as you started that, it's like the song's going. It's like, I wonder if I'm on Christmas movie today.
This is what you're gonna get if you DM me. This is free. I'll send you a copy. It's actually a link from I put it on Canva. But here, let me make it bigger so we can see better here. And human skills audit, right? The 3 AI proof skills. This is a checklist, and no one's watching, just you. Okay, this is how you can evaluate where you're at, right? Emotional intelligence. I reflect back. What I'm hearing is before giving my view. Do you do that, or do you just answer? I separate behavior from person when giving feedback. Do you do that? Or you're like, I don't really like this person because they ask so much questions. Is that showing empathy? Right? Are you separating that from the work that they give you versus the person? Because you have to sometimes separate, like, okay, they're a good worker, but man, their attitude sucks. Okay, maybe that's an attitude thing, but not the work, because work is about productivity, right? You're not there to make best friends. You're there to work. Third one is I spot early signs of frustration, burnout, and act quickly. Do you do that? Be honest with yourself, right? So all of these things are doing. And then once you get your score, guys, you can actually you track your own metrics, right? Micro habit, 60-second, name it to tame it before replaying or replying in conflict. Name it to tame it. What is it? What am I feeling right now? Why am I so angry at this person? Name it, right? And then creative strategic thinking. I generate 3+ distinct options before choosing a path. Do you do that? Or do you just say, no, I don't want to do this? I challenge assumptions with what would need to be true, because we always operate on our own bias. I've seen this before. I do this too. I know. Okay. I connect ideas across teams, industries to find non obvious wins. I don't actually do that. So that's probably a 0 for me. I turn AI drafts into original with POV data story examples. I do that. I define success metrics before creating. That's so true. I run small test pilot before scaling decisions. Yes. Everybody should. Okay. And then here's that adaptability. And then what you do is you total your EQ, your creativity and ability, and then you have your oval score, and then do an upgrade plan for yourself, right? What's your behavior? What's your target? What's your metrics? Okay, do that. Block your calendar each week to review your scores and update every 15, like here, add 15 minutes to your calendar to see if you're going to be. Remember, when you're intentional and you do micro habits, it doesn't seem so big. You're actually changing your mental state. So let me know if you want that, and I will be happy to provide that. Sister, what are your thoughts?
She's off to frameworks again. You always have the best frameworks, though. It's just like you just pop them, and I like that. Because looking at it, it's a great way for us to look at ourselves and actually get to understand ourselves a little bit better. Because here's the other thing: as you're going through these lists, and maybe you're coming up with zeros, which would be easy to do, then the next question is going to be, do you really want to change? It's like not, and that's really part of it. It's that want. That's the awareness piece. You want to make a change, and so now that you've seen it, are you willing to take the steps to make the change? Are you willing to find ways to grow because you want to be more EQ? You want to be more of each of these. And so that's kind of what I was thinking as I'm looking at it. It's, do you understand what you have to do to make those changes? And are you willing to do it? That's again, that's that move out of the box. You know what you should do, but until you've got the awareness that you can do it, you can take control, you can move beyond where you are, you can have a better EQ, you can do all these things that you just went through. Until you get to the point where you're aware that you can do this and you want to do that, nothing's going to change.
Oh my gosh, that song, nothing's gonna change my love for you.
Oh, this is turning into music day. Mikey
I know, I'm sorry. I have a karaoke thing.
Well, Mikey was Mellow Yellow, and I mean that's
oh my
Mellow
god.
Yellow was a 60s song, I think.
Oh, that is
60s
so
or early 70s.
that is so funny that I was thinking that. Well, here's another thing that I wanted to share. See if I can share this, because you were talking about, a framework. I actually have a framework that I wanted to share. Of course I do, right? It's
Of
called
course you do.
let's see if I can make this bigger, and you guys can take pictures or whatever, but I don't know if I can make this any bigger. Hold on 1 second. Okay, this is called the ARG Human Advantage Model. A is for adaptive problem solving. So when you have a problem, you got to diagnose it. Okay, I'm thinking about it more of a doctor's perspective, where you go to the ER because you have something that's pressing or urgent care, right? What do? They ask you a bunch of questions, they diagnose you, and then they design a plan for you to make you better. And then really at the end, they want you to go back to your main doctor to see what's going to happen. But what do? They design a plan, and then they deliver your meds, or they just take you out. So Diagnose, design, and deliver. You can do this in yourself. You can do this in your business, right? You can translate a messy problem into a measurable experiment within 72 hours. And because I'm a teacher, I have rubrics for everything. Are you stuck in your analysis? Are you trying to fix it without the metrics? Are you designing a small test just to see it? And this is why I do a lot of small tests. And then, or you ship your test, read results, and then iterate a new one. The R part is relationship intelligence. This is the empathy in action, guys. You're like, how do I make my empathy better if I'm at 0 or if I'm a low score, right? You notice it because you're asking more intentional stuff. You name it to tame it, and then you navigate. That's where the adaptability is, right? You can surface hidden concerns and move a stuck conversation to a decision. Again, are you missing the signals? Are you reading the room? Are you acknowledging your feelings? Like, okay, I'm feeling bad. It's not because of you. It's because I have an internal dialogue and issues right now with myself, right? But you need to reframe to a shared goal, because the goal is what? Productivity and getting the problem solved. And then you gain, 3 is gaining commitment to the next step, right? And then the last one in J is judgment and ethics. This is the same thing as what I was talking to you guys about. What are your principles? Remember, guys, there are different types. There's ethics and morals. Ethics is a social construct. Morals is yours, personal environment. Something can be morally okay and ethically wrong. Okay, I'm going to give you an example, and I always use this, is that here the federal government in the United States do not allow child labor. That is called what? Ethics. That's our principle. That is everywhere in the United States. However, if you go to China because you want to make shoes, you want to make t-shirts, they're okay with child labor. That is their moral construct. That is their principle. That is their culture. But yet we tell them no. So what do? To pivot and adapt. We only hire manufacturers that do not allow child labor. You see what I'm saying? Principles, trade-offs. Yes, they're going to cost more money, but we're not going to be able to move anything, okay? Because the world's going to judge you if you're going to have child labor working 2 cents per day, right? For 5-year-olds and 8-year-olds. So the trade-off is what? Corporate social responsibility, CSR, right? Because the consequences is heavier than the results that you want to make money on. Consequences is you're going to shut down and no one's going to buy your product, right? So you can explain why you choose path A or path B in one paragraph. You're going to look at the risks. I like calculated risks. No risk is no fun. Too much risk is crazy anxiety. So I like navigating to calculated risks. And then, of course, the value. The rubric is, I'm going to go with my gut. Okay, well, that's good. But if your gut was telling you, usually your gut doesn't tell you wrong, by the way. We complicate things. But in business, you got to look at the list, pros and cons. If I do this, this is going to happen. Align the policy that you have and the principles that you have together. And then document your decision so that you can, what? Save your butt, your behind, okay? So you don't get sued or get fired. I'm just saying. So that is how ARJ is. Thoughts, sister?
ARJ. I like how you went through that. Trying to think of and then of course a part of me is like going acronyms. Like it's like I'm so used to acronyms anyway. You know, Army, we had acronyms for everything. It's like trying to think of what would you do with an ARJ. Now I want ARJ to mean something. It's like, I mean, otherwise it's like, why didn't you do ARC or ARC or ARC? I mean, a C or a K or, and then you can add to it. But okay, so that's diverged off of the question.
That's your ADHD talking at this point.
That's the ADHD is going, okay, we're going all over the place now because it's like my mind took a whole different place. Yet when I look at how you put these together and how you explain it, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. Trying to make things basically when you throw out a framework, it's always there to improve, to help grow, to help do something positive. And then I feel like for some of these, you need a sentence. You need to find a way to put it in a sentence to give it that one last jolt. Because you could do it with voice, and so many of the others that you've got acronyms for. So it's like, okay, my brain went off on a tangent with this one. So I'll let you take it back.
That is so funny. I actually was thinking, I was trying to help you, right? Like, always going to get better at teaching. I'm always trying to get better at teaching, even at 15 years.
Yeah.
And I was looking at framework always. And I'm like, how can I help other teachers like Susanna to be consistent with their adaptability, emotional intelligence, and ethical judgment? And I come up with ROI Teach. But before I move on to ROI Teach, I'm thinking about what you said about like the sentence of Arj. A is for how fast you can turn chaos into a small test, like act now, right? And then R is like, hey, how well you move conversations forward with empathy. Roll with it. Like act now, roll with it, right? And then how clearly you explain why behind your choices. What is the J? Just go with it. Roll with it, go with it, and act now. That's pretty much easy to remember when it comes to that. But let's go back to the ROI Teach, because I was thinking, hey, what's my reusable teaching framework that you can use pretty much anywhere? Now, this one has like a one-word thing, sister, that you're used to me doing it. So R is relevance, right? State the stakes in one sentence and show a micro case. Whatever that is, whatever your problem is, state the stake. What is it? Well, this is going to be their final project. How are we going to teach this to the students, right? Relevance. Because if you're doing an assignment and it has nothing to do with the final project, why is it relevant? It's not. Okay, so relevance. O is outcome. By the end, you will be able to do A, B, and C, right? Outcome. Well, if you're going to do a SWOT analysis, but you don't have it in an assignment, this is not going to happen. So let's do a SWOT analysis now, because the outcome of this is that you can extrapolate this information for the final project. The same thing for work. If you're going to do this right now, right, at the end, you'll be able to do A, B, and C. That is outcome. I is insight. Okay. One chart or stat, one story. Translate this insight to implication. If I don't do this and teach the students, I can't expect them to do this. No one can. No one knows your expectation. Give me an insight. Give me a template, right? Give me an explanation, right? That is insight. So that's ROI. Now, T for teach is teach the model. Introduce a simple 3 to 4 steps box model with definitions. Hey guys, mixed methodology is this, qualitative is this, quantitative is this, an essay is this, an intro, a body, a conclusion. Don't forget your references, right? For work, hey guys, you got to pick up the call, write this down. As soon as you write it down, if there's a problem, give it to A. If there's no problem, move on to the next call. Same thing, right? That is teach the model. E is for engage. Quick exercise on role play with a timer and a template, especially if you're in a class. Hey, how do we do this? How do we do this? Engagement is asking questions. Always stay curious and you'll have a lot of engagement. And A is for apply, right? Participants who actually model to the real scenario, then they can apply. When you ask students to write something, but if you don't want them to fail, you got to teach them and say, hey, this is how you apply this. SWOT analysis is strength, not strength from the outside, but from your company, right? What is this company? Opportunities could be a comparison to your opportunity for growth with, hey, we're number 1 and our competitors is number 2, but they're creeping up on us. That's probably what Apple is saying to Samsung. But anyway, that is their opportunity for growth, right? And sometimes they steal for their opportunity to growth and then just pay millions later. Now, A is for apply, and then C is for calibrate. right? Beginners to pro. How do we go from beginners to pro? Reiteration. Always keep changing. When you're stagnant, that's when you die. Have you ever seen a shark stops? No, they just keep going, right? They live a long life because they are not stagnant. Don't be complacent. Oh, I already know this. I'm not going to move on. There's a better version. Always look for that. Calibrate, just like your printer. If you don't calibrate it, the ink is like all over the place. And then H is for hand off, right? Deliver it. Give a checklist, a script, a 7-day challenge, whatever. Deliver it and have that teachable moments. So that's ROI Teach.
Got it. I've written it down.
Oh, Mike, that's a Sun Tzu principle. Yeah, I've studied Sun Tzu since I was 5. That was my grandfather's book for me. When the orders are clear, when they are unclear, exactly, right? So that's how I do it. ROI Teach is a framework for anything and everything, and that's why I say I'm a trainer for trainers, that's what I meant. Oh my gosh, we could go on for this lecture, everybody, but thank you so much. Remember, guys, those 3 framework. Okay, I hope that you guys never forget about it, because that is something that, I'm not kidding, is going to make a difference when it comes to you being a differentiator with AI, because AI is going to be here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere, right? So just remember those things. Any last minute thing that you would like to share, sister?
Go back and rewatch this for anything you missed or anything you've got questions on, because sometimes it goes so fast. Go back, catch what you might have missed. Make sure you got it all. Don't think you've got it if you're not clear that you got it.
Yeah, and just ask questions. Remember, number 1 is emotional intelligence and empathy. Number 2 is creativity and strategic thinking. And number 3 is what? Adaptability and ethical judgment. Those 3. Or if you, those 3. Okay. Or ARJ, right? ARJ is adaptive problem solving, relationship intelligence, which is empathy and action. And J is for judgment and ethics. So we love you guys. We will see you on Sunday. Hopefully with 50 inspirational connections, people. Bye, everybody. See ya. Bye.
I started in the silence, behind closed doors. Dreams too loud to keep tucked in the floorboards. Late nights, broke days, no applause in sight. Just coffee, hustling that fire to fight. They said, play small, but I'm built to expand. No silver spoon, just grit in my hand. I wore every note like armor and steel. Visibility's a battle, but I'm real and I heal. From invisible threads to the front of the stage, I'm rewriting the script, turning scars into page. Level up, rise above the fear. Let them hear your voice, make your purpose clear. Every step, every stumble, every tear in the rough. You were made for this moment, you are enough. Level up, break through the doubt. Turn the whispers of your past into a victory shout. You ain't just chasing clout, you're building a legacy. Now the world's gonna see what they couldn't believe. Yeah, what they couldn't believe. See the back end, just a headline glow. But success is built slow, where the struggle don't show. Algorithms change, but your mission's divine. You're the brand, you're the vision, you're the power behind. You gave free just to prove you have value inside. Now it's invoices paid and your name amplified. You're not just in business, you're changing the game. And your visibility, that's more than a name. No more shrinking, this is expansion. No more asking, this is commanding. You've been the spark, now you're the flame. Entrepreneur by fire, fueled by name. Level up, rise above the fear. Let them hear your voice, make your purpose clear. Every step, every stumble, every tear in the rough. You were made for this moment, you are enough. Level up, break through the doubt. Turn the whispers of your past into a victory shout. You ain't just chasing clout, you're building a legacy. Now the world's gonna see what they couldn't believe. What they couldn't believe. To the late nights, the lost friends, the risks you took, to the brand you built and the space you shook. Here's your crown, your moment, your spotlight beam. You didn't just chase the dream, you became the dream.